Welcome to the From Concealment Podcast, the show for firearm enthusiasts who like to shoot, train, carry, and compete. Get ready for some shooting insight, firearm and accessory reviews, and of course, insight on concealed carry. And now, broadcasting from behind enemy lines in the From Concealment studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams.
Welcome to the From Concealment Podcast. I'm your co-host, Pete Mitchell.
And I am your co-host, Dan Sams.
I should have said welcome, Freedom Nation.
Freedom Nation. Yeah. There you go. That's all right. They know it. They know it. We're going to have to start being more secretive anyway. We're not going to be able to use words like freedom and guns.
Well, that should be classified as a hate term, freedom. I mean, apparently that's not the new communist term that we're supposed to be using.
That's right. We'll have to change it all, and we'll put everything in code, and we'll refer to everyone as comrades, and that means Freedom Nation.
There you go.
And instead of guns, we'll be talking about all our manifestos. Those will be our and we'll just hey, hope you guys are keeping your manifestos clean. We'll just sound as commie as possible, but it'll all be in code. We'll be talking to the Freedom Nation.
Well, then I bet you Google and Apple would actually pump us to the top of their podcast search results.
Great idea. That's a great idea. Well, and it's been proven in the freedom community with words like, with Boogaloo and Big Igloo, Big Luau, that we can go for a pretty long time using coded terminology that we all understand, and nobody gets it. Yeah. It's still fun to get on Instagram and follow the Boogaloo hashtag. And for a while, it was, the pop and lock dancers mixed in with gun community, which I always thought was the fun thing.
Right.
Every time I'm scrolling, I'm like, dang it, this is a dance video. I wonder how they feel when they're looking at dance. Do they get into the freedom movement through following that hashtag on Instagram? I'm really curious. I'm at least more interested in dance than I used to be.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
Awesome.
Well, this week's episode is being brought to you by FastOC. By the way, FastOC.com, they have a handgun challenge coming up on the 27th of December. And yours truly is going to be there. It's going to be held at FT3 in Stanton. And I'm actually signed up twice. I'm signed up to run my PCC and to run my Glock 34.
Nice, man. That'll be fun.
I kind of just want to see how I can do with my PCC on a timed, course with real competitors. I mean, that's not like that one that I won. I'm like, oh yeah, I won. These are real competitors.
That's awesome, man.
So I'm going to run them both, the Glock 34 and the PCC, and just see how I do.
Are you running in the same events as two different shooters, different platforms? Yeah. That's awesome.
I'll be as two different shooters.
That'll be really interesting to see. Just you're probably going to do a lot better with the Ruger, but I'm really curious. I mean, you'll be doing an apples to apples comparison of your your rig. I like it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how do I do, because depends on what we have there. A lot of times these guys will be using a Texas Star, and that thing gets going. Let me tell you, depending on how far back you are from it, because it depends on the stage, right, where they position you at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes you can tag it really quick, really easy. Other times, I've seen guys burn through just mag after mag trying to hit that dang freaking spinning wheel of death.
Yeah.
And then the guys on the PCC, because they can just line up so quick, they're just bing, 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 bing. Before the thing even has a chance to move. So I'm very curious to see what do they have and how does it run. So if you guys are thinking about it, man, sign up for that. There's still, I was only the second person to sign up, but I took 2 of the spots. So you want to come to that, you got to hurry up and sign up. Head on over to fastoc.com and sign up for that one.
Well, and it's a chance to meet the great Pete Mitchell in person.
Yeah, that's it.
See you shooting in action. You're probably going to be wearing your From Concealment hat.
I'm not the guy you want to come see shoot in action. Like I said, top 50%. That means half of the people there are better than me. Significantly better than me. So, no,
that's all right.
I'm not the reason to come out. I'm just one of the guys there enjoying the Boogaloo like everyone else.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, would it be great if the Boogaloo kicked off during one of those events, and like everybody's
on the way
ready.
home, and you're strapped up, and you got everything, and you're fresh because you've just been using it. Yeah,
man,
that would be my ideal.
Yep. It's awesome. I came across some Boogaloo patches that I'm pretty interested in, and it's like the thin blue line patch, except instead of the stars in the top corner, it's an igloo, and instead of a blue line, it's a Hawaiian shirt print, like in this tiny, and it's just awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, really cool.
That. I like that. It's funny. I was actually looking at patches this weekend too, because I was thinking about buying a new jacket, and so then I was like looking at all the jackets that have the place where you can put patches on it. And the problem is a lot of the patches I really like, I would not go out in public.
Yes. Yeah.
I just have to admire them from afar, but I'm not going to actually put them on a coat and wear it around, and not here in California anyway.
Yeah.
And, but I saw a really cool patch that I really wanted to get. Even though it doesn't truly fit, it's a Top Gun patch. And so if it says Pete Mitchell Maverick, and I'm like, dude, that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Get my name right there on the, the patch and put it on.
That would be cool.
But
I could get down with that. Yeah.
But
that's
cool, it's
man.
not truly a true gun patch, so that's the reason that I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But hey, so anyway, we're going to talk today about why you don't want to be a UPS driver in Florida.
Oh yeah, rough situations down there, man. Yeah.
Why don't you give everyone an overview of what went down, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, real loose overview. Broward County. My understanding is that it was some jewelry thieves who took hostage, or a jewelry thief, I can't remember how many, took hostage a UPS driver and had him, driving down the road. At some point, and apparently a friend of mine who lives locally, he's like, I grew up right there. He says, there's actually like a 45-minute drive supposedly that they were on. And he says they had some time to figure something out, but the whole thing ends. I guess the truck gets stopped. Police show up. Police are hiding behind civilian vehicles who are just in the worst place at the worst time. And the cops end up just lighting the thing up, shot up the entire box truck, killed everyone inside. The hostage, the perpetrators. My understanding is there was another bystander also killed. Just the UPS driver, of course, was killed. Just a really sad situation. Like, everybody died. Everybody. The innocents and everybody.
I haven't heard anyone say this, so I don't know, but did the alleged jewel thief, did he shoot first or shoot at all?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, the memes have been very disturbing on this one.
Yeah. The memes have been fire. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like the one that I thought was just so potent was they like pointed out, okay, civilian, family in this car. Here's all the cops. And they drew the red line showing this is, not just the UPS truck, but then past beyond the UPS truck where their bullets would be going if they're missing. And it was like, what are these guys thinking? Why would you? Yeah, why would you light it up like that? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen the video. Somebody, because they put the UPS truck on the back of a
yes, I saw that
flatbed.
video.
The video of just the guy driving by it as it's rolling down the road, and it was just the whole side of the truck is lit up with bullet holes, and I'm like, man.
And you can tell they're at an angle because you can actually see where the bullet started to go. Because for those of you guys who don't shoot competition and stuff like that, a lot of times they'll tell us, hey, you have to shoot this target from this angle, and they'll look at the target and go, okay, where's the hole? And you can tell if it was a straight on shot or if it's coming in at an angle. And those were, you could tell what angle they were being shot at from. And of course, then you see all the blood stain on the stairs of the UPS truck. And the guy was just a freaking UPS driver, just a young kid UPS driver, like what, 21, something like that.
He was 27, and he was covering somebody's route. He was covering a friend's route to help him out. Yeah, I think had a couple of kids. Like, just, man, the whole thing is heartbreaking. And especially, we're in a situation where if the cops had done zero, we'd have been better off. Like, I mean, everybody died. Like, we'd have been better off if there had been no action on the police whatsoever. Like, I mean, like, everybody died. And yeah, I'm still grieving this one. There's something even watching the civilian cars kind of like, who realize like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the line of fire, and trying to like creep forward as of course the cops are like sliding behind them as they're moving. And it's like, dang, it's like you're making us into a target, like, van full of, a family with kids, and just a mess, man. So I thought this would be a good time to just point out, I mean, the number 4 rule in gun safety is know your backdrop. We have to give an account for every round fired.
Civilians.
Well, civilians do, right?
Yes.
Like
these cops will never have to be. These cops will never be held accountable.
Nobody's
for those murder statistics that are now going to be used against all legal gun owners.
Yeah,
that'll never happen.
Isn't that crazy? Like that's going to be used in the stats against us, and they're still going to let these guys have their guns. But this is like, actually, if you go to I was actually on the NRA website today. I'm not trying to give a plug for them. I'm pretty unhappy with them. But normally the NRA in their training will talk about 3 basic gun safety rules right off the bat. They talk about always point it in a safe direction, finger off the trigger, and then the third one they always talk about unloaded until ready to use. And of course, there's the caveat of, if you're carrying for defense or whatever. But the very first of their next, because they have a longer list, the very next rule they have listed right after the top 3 is know your target and what is beyond. Their language is be absolutely sure you have identified your target beyond any doubt. Yep. You are always going to have to know. So like, I shoot in a field out behind my house. I have a backdrop behind my target. And if I'm shooting anything beyond pistol caliber, and I have backdrop beyond the field, and then there's more field, and then there's more trees and more backdrop before it gets anywhere else. But I still, if I'm shooting anything beyond basic pistol caliber, and even then I shoot from an elevated position, so I'm shooting down into the ground, I want to know where every round is going. I'm triple careful when I'm firing anything that's, like an AR or something that has the potential to go a little bit more distance. And so it's just a good time to remember that, everybody. But it's just heartbreaking because you and I care about this. We're paying attention to what our backdrops are. And the people that are supposed to be the experts are not. And it resulted in innocent people dying. And it's just, it irks me.
I mean, the reality is, and this is a very unfortunate thing. It's very unfortunate because, well, I don't want to bag on cops, at least not on this episode, because they got enough that they got to go through, at least not on this episode. I like how I said that. But the one of the stigmas that cops are faced with is if one of them shoots, they all have to shoot. Because if they don't shoot, a lot of bad stuff's going to happen to them within their own department, because you're seen as not backing up your partner, you're seen as not backing up everyone else, and it ends up being a really ugly situation. So the unfortunate thing is, okay, one guy shoots, now everyone else there has to shoot. And I think that's part of what we saw. It was like, well, I got to get in this fight because, they're going to look at how many rounds that I shoot. And if I'm the only one here who's literally fired no rounds, then I got to explain why did I not fire any rounds. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it was legally correct or justifiably, you shouldn't be shooting. You got no clear shot. You got a background. Yeah. You're going to get hated in that department. And that's a huge problem in the police departments, because that should not be what they look at, what they think about at all.
Well, this is the whole thing where we're constantly told, don't judge the police on the few bad apples. And I'm like, okay, and I respect that. And I've got some good, solid friends who are in law enforcement. I love them. I believe they're good dudes. I appreciate them. They're kind to me, and I believe as far as I can tell, they're kind to the people that they pull over and that they, do their job with. But my big question is, if you're going to say, don't judge, all cops on a few bad apples, then I'm going to be like, well, then you good apple cops, are going to have to stand up in these situations. Like, you unleashing a barrage of rounds blindly firing into a truck doesn't exactly like bode well for you, right? And so, if we know, if you're sitting there next to your buddy and he's shooting and he shouldn't be right then because he doesn't have a clear shot, you shouldn't be dumping up rounds at the same time just so that you don't look bad in front of your buddy. You need to be the guy that's like, hey, dude, what the heck are you doing? Like, cool it. We're like, ceasefire. This is not a good time. And it's the same thing when you find out about the guys who, he's abusing his wife and some other cop is covering it up, and goes along with all these kind of things. There's enough cover up that I'm like, I'm sure there's some good guys out there, but they do us zero good if they are not standing up for what's right.
Yeah.
And, So,
yeah, but you have to know, like, and I think about this stuff all the time because I work security at my church for the kids area, like once a month kind of a thing. Yep. And part of the reason why I was asked to do that is because I'm one of the few people in California that has a concealed carry permit.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, sure, man, I'll do that, once a month, no problem. But think about it. That means I'm literally protecting kids. Kids are small. Kids are everywhere. Like, you've got to be thinking about, okay, if someone were to come in from over here, where do I need to be that I can take a shot? Because you got to think before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
What's behind the target? Because, think about it. I don't know how thick these walls are, but they don't look very thick to me. And I would not want a round going through that and striking a young kid. Now I'm the, the guy that shoots the kid. Oh my gosh, man. Are you kidding me? That's horrible. That's horrible. I'm not a cop, so I'm not getting off.
Yep. You're exactly right, man. That's where, that's where we're you and I are paying attention to even what kind of ammunition we're carrying. We're going to try to carry ammunition that as best as we can plan for it is going to not go through walls, ammunition that has maximum stopping power, minimal penetration through walls. I mean, you and I think about this stuff. I'm thinking about it.
Which means we're using 12-gauge slug. I can't even talk today.
12-gauge slugs.
There you go. That's what we're using in our carry, our carry shotguns.
That's what we need, man. Get my carry shotgun and take care of business that way, man.
Don't you just kind of reminisce and think, man, I really wish I was born in the Old West. I just think I would have enjoyed, like, going around on my horse with my gun on the side. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think I would like it a lot.
That's the free America I want. I want to go cowboy again.
Yeah,
Make America cowboy again. That's right. That's my new motto.
Heck yeah, man. Oh, and just carry an open carry and nobody blinking at it would be awesome. And in West Virginia, we had a decent amount of open carry and people were pretty chill about it.
Really?
At least that was back in the day, though. I remember like just being at McDonald's and a dude would come in with his gun on his hip, and not a big deal. Like, nobody made a fuss. It was just life in West Virginia, man. Of course, West Virginia is also where, like, when somebody was threatening, we had a family member was being threatened, and the sheriff called and said, "Just be sure you drag him inside if you shoot him, man."
Oh, really?
Was the sheriff. He's like, well, if he needs killing, you kill him. Just make sure you drag him inside when you do. I was like, thank you, officer. I mean, he wasn't saying this to me. He was saying it to a family member. But West Virginia is awesome. West Virginia might be as closest to Wild West as you're going to get, man.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, too, so this is part of where I really think competitions help the concealed carry person.
Yeah.
Because most competitions that we do, there are going to be one, if not several targets that have non-shoot targets covering them. And some of them, what you can actually shoot is really tiny, and you're shooting in between two non-threats. And you're on the move, right? So you're running and run into a new position. Now, of course, one of the benefits that you have in a competition is everything is static on the other side. Most of your targets are not moving. Now, every once in a while you do, right? You might have like we talked about earlier, the Texas Star. You might have any kind of popper or something like that. So you might have some things that are moving, but they're still moving in a predictable manner.
Right.
As opposed to a live person, which could be moving any which way, which means the non-threat could be moving any which way, and you don't want them to catch the round. So you, like, if you're in a mall and an active shooter situation happens, I mean, it's a tough call for us CCW people, because the first thought is, and the first priority is family.
Yep.
Get my family safe, get my kids safe. If the shooter is right there, then I can stop him. Great. But my first priority has to be to my family.
Yep.
I got to get them safe. I can't go, kids wait here. Let me go see if I can stop this threat. I mean, that's not the way it's going to work. Not efficiently, and not in any kind of way that you want to be, because you don't know how many shooters there are. You don't know if it's a single shooter. You don't know if leaving your family leaves them to jeopardy because of another shooter coming in from another door. You don't know what's going on. So protect your family, get them out. But let's say you're in that mall situation or a movie theater, right? Where we've seen in Colorado in the movie theater. Think about all those people, very few exits. That means there's going to be crowds of people everywhere. And you've got your carry with you and some shooters in there. You've got to be thinking, okay, can I make this shot? Am I sure that I'm not going to hit anything else? Am I sure my round is not going to go through the wall? You don't know how thick the walls are or how thin they are.
Yep.
If I miss that guy, I mean, you can't really go for a headshot. I mean, first of all, the head is incredibly hard to hit, not just size-wise, but the head is also moving the most, right? The body, the reason why you aim for the body is, usually the body is nice and solid even as it's running. It's right there.
Yeah.
And you can hit it, but the head, dang thing is bobbing all over the place. So now you're taking body shots, but what if you miss? What if someone runs in front? I mean, all that stuff you got to think about. And these cops, unfortunately, they weren't thinking about that. I mean, there's no way you can look at this and justify those shots. You just can't justify them. I don't care if the guy is shooting at you. You take cover and you realize, I can't shoot back. I can't. There's nothing I can do because I'm going to hit someone else, or the chances of me hitting someone else are just too dang great.
Yeah. It's interesting. Maybe there was just never a plan put in place for something like this, and I understand that. Like, you come across this, but even still, like, this whole thing was just a mess. Like, I'm trying to be respectful in the process, but we're just talking about a big mess here. Like, we're talking about number 4. Shooting into, blindly into a place where that there are innocents. I still doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's just still not making sense. And crazy stuff. So remember the basic rules of safety, everybody. And we're not kidding. We're not just joking around here. Finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Always point in a safe direction. Unloaded, or in our case, loaded, judiciously with a plan if you are going to need it. But and then knowing your backdrop, which goes with that, as we were already talking about, knowing what caliber you're using and the distance that it's gonna have, and what kind of things it can go through. These are important things that we as gun owners have to think about regularly, and there's no excuse on a mistake. Mistakes happen, but that's why we have multiple levels, multiple degrees of safety to employ. And so keeping that in mind, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, just out of curiosity, you made me think of something, when you reminded everyone to keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready, basically to shoot.
To shoot, yeah.
And it reminded me of the thing that I hate the most when I watch TV shows and movies is poor trigger control.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. And that's how you can tell if the actor is a shooter or not a shooter. Right? Because shooters, they you can't, you pick up a drill, right? I always pick it up with my finger.
I do too.
Off.
Yeah.
You can't help it, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching this old movie over the weekend. It's an old Robert Redford movie, Flight of the Condor. It's like from 1975, but I remember seeing it like years ago, and I was like, oh, I feel like watching a good, spy movie. I don't normally watch movies that old. I'm not like one of those guys who's like, oh, remember this?
Yeah.
I wanted to see a good spy movie. And he's like, he takes this woman hostage, and like every time he's threatening her with the gun, he's got his finger on the trigger. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
What if you get too excited and just burp? I mean, dude, what are you doing?
Yep.
Like, trigger control.
Even in some of the pro-gun memes I see every now and then where they've got a picture of a guy and he's holding a gun like this and he's got his finger on the trigger and he's holding it. I'm like, girl!
Dude, that's when everyone usually crucifies them.
Oh, yeah.
I saw somebody was doing a commercial, a video on Facebook for some gun something. It was a chick holding a gun. And she had her finger on the trigger, and the comments were just murdering that poor girl for leaving her finger on the trigger.
But I tell you what, when you've been embarrassed like that, you remember from then on.
Sure.
So
well, hopefully.
There is a way back from, I don't know how many years ago, there's a picture of me, and I'm not doing good trigger discipline. And maybe I'm getting ready to shoot. I don't even remember. But I don't like that there was a picture of me with my finger on the trigger. And so I see it, I'm like, God!
Yeah.
Delete the thing. And it should be, it's part of being safe. And you're right, man, in the movies, when they're not doing that, it just drives me nuts.
I mean, and as a concealed carry person, if you carry, you always have to think about trigger control, because if you have to pull, and let's say it is a situation, granted, I mean, most situations, if you have to pull, you're shooting. Like we talked about before, you're probably shooting from retention, because it is literally pull, shoot, or die. I mean, it is like that chaotic, that hectic. But let's say you're in a situation, an active shooter situation in the mall, whatever, you better have good trigger control. Because first of all, civilians, we are not in Afghanistan, right? So where you turn your head is not where you should be moving the gun. That's what you would do if you're in the military. If you're in a war zone, you would absolutely, your gun would be downrange, looking at whatever your head is turned at. We're in civilian America. If you do that, you're probably going to go to jail, because you're going to be like causing every mom and dad out there to wet their pants when they're staring down the barrel of a gun. And so that's one of the differences between civilian life and military life. You basically got to leave your gun down. I mean, you got to leave that thing pointed down and look with your head. And when you find the target, then you pull it up. But again, you got to have that trigger control, because I mean, what happens? Your adrenaline's already going to be spiked. You'll probably be shooting quicker than you should be shooting. That's why you can't take these shots, man. You can't take these shots. Your adrenaline's going to be pumping. You're not going to be as accurate as you think you are. You're not going to be as accurate as you are when you go on a Tuesday in the morning and you're like, oh, cool, I get to go shoot. It's just not going to be that way.
Yep. You're exactly right, man. Well, hey, worth noting, just because we've mentioned him, this UPS employee, by all accounts, seemed like he was a halfway decent guy. His name was Frank Ordonez. He had 2 kids, and just worth kind of bringing some attention. I don't want to give attention to any of the, hijackers or the guys who just dropped the ball saving him. But that dude, man, just a working man. 27 years old, faithfully doing a job, covering for somebody who had to call in. That's kind of heart and soul of our country right there, is just the hardworking dudes working manual labor jobs. So Frank Ordonez, he's got my respect, and I hope he knew the Lord. Hopefully I'll see him in eternity. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, you want to give Lake Erie their shout out?
Yeah, just want to give another quick shout out to Lake Erie Arms. We are coming to the end of the year, and as we mentioned last week, there's plenty of stuff you can get gun-wise. I think the last I checked, there was still some stockings, some tactical stockings you could pick up. But I recommend check out learms.net. Even if you are not here in Northeast Ohio, you're not able to visit the greatest gun store in the world, Lake Erie Arms, you can jump onto learms.net and download some of our free stuff. And we've got free stuff on building ARs and what you need to know. Even if you've watched 1,000 how-to videos, we've got some stuff on there about the options on your build. We've got stuff for brand new shooters. We've got actually basic gun safety videos, all kinds of stuff like that. Can I highly recommend. Check out learms.net. We have special subscriptions for both AR builds, for concealed carriers, for first-time gun owners, and for female gun owners. Check out learms.net. We'll talk to you later.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode. Talk to you then. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
You've been listening to the From Concealment podcast with Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams. Be sure to tune in next week for more gun talk. Also, check out the From Concealment website for more shooting-related goodness at FromConcealment.com.